Welcome back, guys, and yes, I'm feeling a lot better, guys. I just want to thank you all for the support and all for the get well comments. Yeah, thank you all. Today I'm going to be giving you part 8 of What If Naruto Had Cosmic Energy. Remember, guys, get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this call with your friends in your social media platform. Oh, and also, guys, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a Blue-Eye Uchiha over on Anime King. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, oh yeah, stay tuned for the new episode coming over on Anime King 2 for you guys to enjoy. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last spot we left off, as Naruto and the group was staying with Tsunami, Inari, and Tezuna. As Naruto could see that the woman was worried about their food supply. After all, she had been feeding them for the entire time being here. But she was very caring and sweet. She would never let this show. After all, they were protecting her father and helping build a bridge. Just say that night everyone got a special gift because all around the village food was given to everyone. Tezuna had came back with the news and Tsunami had saw Naruto had cooked for her. And the entire family, a lot of it, and the pantries, everything was filled. He said that he went out of town to get them. Kakashi noticed that he had a slight headache. He knew what Naruto did to get this food. Inari had started to shout that Gato was going to kill them, but Naruto placed a hand on the boy's head. Inari didn't know why, but the same feeling of hope when he got. When his father figure had stand up to Gato, he felt it off of Naruto. As Naruto went out to experiment, he never actually tried to bring anything to life before. This was the first time yet he tried it. As Naruto also spoke to the fox. There was their first meeting, how the both of them met each other. As Naruto told him that him being the Jinjulki, that kind of represented his strength. So if he was not strong, the others would think that Ninetale was weak. Being as prideful as he was, and stubborn as well, the Ninetale went along with Naruto's plan. As Naruto also made him a promise that he would free him once he knew enough about Fuinjutsu and that he wouldn't die. The fox held him on that promise. It's not like the both of them were friends, but he didn't outright want to devour him right there and then. Well, that left to be unseen, seeing that he never get the opportunity to do it. So Naruto tried to bring a rabbit to life. It did make the rabbit, but it had no life in it. He didn't know what to do about it, because he didn't exactly know what to do about bringing things alive. He didn't really have that ability. But it did make the rabbit, but he was just dead. He had to find out more about that. As Naruto ended up falling asleep out there, as Haku came, Naruto quickly pinned her down because he knew that it was her. He saw a seal on the back of her neck. He felt it. After all, his eyes could see the warmth within people that have a soft, gentle soul, and he saw it within her. As he released her, she wished in another lifetime that they could be friends. Someone as gentle and as kind as him. But she has to follow Zabuza-sama. As Hinata spoke to Naruto about what she saw. As Naruto told her that he was not ready to tell her yet about, well, something. As she respected that, she knew that he was always honest with her, so it must be a big secret. And she never pressed him on it as everything went back to normal. The day finally came, as Sasuke and Hinata got trapped within inside the dome as Kakashi sent his clone off to protect Tezuna. As Haku was fast, but to the combined teamwork of both Hinata and Sasuke, Hinata slamming her gentle fist style into the dome, disrupting the chakra network. She was able to break through it. She then released a brutal attack on Haku, knocking her down. And with that, she was out of commission. Naruto came by the bridge. As he saw Haku there, he had caught her just in time before she had fell down to the ground. as he dealt with the two bandits that tried to hurt Inari and Tsunami. As the seal on the back of her neck started to glow as Naruto's hand started to glow purple, an eruption of purple energy exploded from him and the seal as well, as it broke. Both him and Haku saw younger Haku and what Zabuza actually did. He was sent by the Mizukage to wipe out the Yuki clan, and he had transformed into Haku's father to do it, to kill her mother. A memory seal was placed on her so she would never know, and she was left out there in the cold, so he could rescue her and she could see him as someone she must look up to and follow. This was a scheme, a plan. But he went into an argument with the Mizukage, and he ended up leaving, taking Haku with him. As Naruto didn't even notice that. Haku wasn't there for those points. She didn't see that, but yet he was able to see it. But that wasn't on his mind right now. The rage of what Zabuza did pissed him off to no end as Naruto told Kakashi to stay back as his entire body started to leak that purple energy. As he was going to kill this man once and for all. He made him a promise after all. So yeah guys, so it's basically that's what I thought you guys can switch across to the place and check out for yourself. So let's begin this new episode. The mood in the office was quite serious. This was minutes after Naruto had left. After he had left to go and visit Lily at the orphanage after, both him and Jiraiya came back to the village. Sir Toby just asked Jiraiya if Naruto was able to control his power. Well, if he lost control, and he saw the look on Jiraiya's face, something happened, and Jiraiya was about to recall that at the moment. Well, you remember that letter I sent you about the land of cotton and the new daimyo? Yes, the advisor that took over as a daimyo. Well, you see, said Jiraiya, there was a girl left behind. The former daimyo's daughter. She was to take over after her entire family had been killed. But she killed herself. As Sir Toby looked at Jiraiya, as Jiraiya never told him this part. That is why the advisor had took over. She couldn't bother with the pain, the loneliness of losing her entire family. As I told you, the missing in Mamakai, Zabuza, had been hired by her own brother to kill off her family. She lost everything that night. The kid was really close to her. Really close. And she wrote him a letter that she had delivered to him before everything. He woke up in the morning seeing it. I woke up to the entire place shaking. That is when we first learned about his energy discharge power, where he was literally able to draw energy out of his body and produce it at an astonishing rate and then release it. Things went out of his control. It took a long while to calm him down. And he slept after that for a very long time, while his body recovered that natural purple energy that used to leak from him, said Jiraiya. But that wasn't the only thing that happened. As Sir Toby remained quiet, he said something while he was unconscious. I have no idea what it is, but the way he spoke, it's not of any language I ever heard before. And it's nothing to do with the Kyuubi, because I would have felt something tampering the seal. I even checked it over. It was that strange purple energy that we still don't know how he acquired that gave him this ability. As Jiraiya looked at Sir Toby could tell that this was extremely serious, judging from the look on Jiraiya's face. And he also looked scared. I'd never heard anything like it, but it chilled me to the very bones. And I saw that look in his eye. Sir Toby still remained quiet, while he was losing control. He was smiling. It was like something had awoken in him, something dark. Naruto wasn't there for that conversation that they had. Back to the present time, Zabuza was sent sailing right onto the water. As he came to a stop, his sword clenching in his hand, something shot off the bridge like a blur, coming towards him like a gig. It was none other than our favorite blonde Naruto Uzumaki, spinning wild. His body looked like a tiny tornado, as a purple aura around him was clashing with Zabuza's blade. Zabuza slammed his blade into it as he felt it creak a bit. He had to leap back once again. On the bridge, Haku was on her knees, her eyes downcast by her hair as she wasn't really looking at anything. She just went silent. Hinata looked over at Naruto as Kakashi started to make his way in the water. She then looked back at Haku. She heard what happened. Sasuke did as well. The girl looked like she was truly broken. As Haku didn't even glance towards the direction of the fighting, she just stayed where she was. Meanwhile, Naruto was moving fast. Zabuza twists and turned as he clashed blade with his gig. As Naruto's body was moving at a speed that Zabuza couldn't even keep up with, he did not understand. This brat, he was just a kid. Zabuza received several nasty cuts as he leaned back. He spun in an Arctic wide angle, forcing Naruto to block his blade or be severed in half. Zabuza then twists over his own blade and brought down his heel. His heel connected with Naruto's shoulder with so much force. Naruto's body slammed and broke into the surface of the water as he went underneath. Zabuza was used to holding his breath. Being from Kiri, there was a lot of missions where he had to stay in water for a long period of time to get his targets. He dropped himself under the water rather quickly. The moment he did, he twists back as a blade passed the tip of his nose, scratching the bandage a bit. He lashed out with a brutal kick as he slammed it into Naruto's stomach. Naruto gasped, releasing all of the air that he had gathered in his lungs. Zabuza then dropped another heel, this time right on top of his skull, knocking him straight down, as he gasped once more. As Zabuza brought his blade and slashed. As the blade tore from Naruto's left side straight up to his right shoulder, as blood started to pool up. As Naruto started to sink to the bottom of the ocean, as he couldn't breathe, Zabuza kept it up as he started to knock Naruto down. As a voice could be heard inside of Naruto's head. Well, not that Zabuza could hear it. He brought his sword down to end Naruto's life once and for all. The voice spoke in his head. Breathing, lowering, body alteration to suit new environment. It was then that something came on Naruto's neck, as his neck twisted a bit, showing two pair of gills that were on fishes. As Naruto felt normal, he could actually breathe now. As he could breathe, he was underwater and he could breathe. Zabuza brought the blade down. As his eyes went wide, as Naruto caught it, as his eyes hardened, the blade started to turn into ice. Zabuza tried to pull it back, but Naruto's grip was tight, not allowing him. Zabuza had to move his hand away when the ice started to creep up on his hand. He pulled back in the water as his two fingers had turned into ice. It was creeping up his arm as he had to break his own finger off. He winks in pain, only to watch as the legendary blade broke into pieces as it sank down to the bottom of the ocean. Zabuza's eyes narrowed in fury as he lashed out at Naruto. But Naruto's body moved to the side so fluently, like he was an actual sea creature. Its fist glowing with unrestrained purple energy, he slammed it into Zabuza's stomach. Kakashi was running on top of the water ready to help Naruto when he saw something burst out of the water. It was sent sailing towards its shores. It was none other than Zabuza. As he slammed right down on the ground, he winced in pain, his body in agonizing pain. Kakashi was sent sailing as the water erupted, unnatural purple energy seeping out everywhere as Naruto blasted out of it. He landed right on top of the shores. Zabuza groaned as he coughed up blood. His entire bandage mask was completely soaked in it. He felt like the brat had torn something inside of him. Naruto's chest still had a slice on it. It hadn't healed. As he walked, Zabuza watched with fascination. The blood that was staining him was still there. But how was that possible? The water should have long time ago washed away that. He then saw something on the boy's neck. Gills? Were those gills? As the gills quickly vanished and returned back to normal, his neck, like they were never there. He then saw the blood in his shirt. His torn shirt started to rise off his shirt. What the hell? Zabuza didn't know what he was witnessing as the blood went back in the wound. It was like time itself was reversing as the wound healed over. It was like it reversed on its own. The boy then spoke, his head hanging low. Did you know what happened to her? Naruto asked. Zabuza tried to get up, but his body wasn't reacting to him at all. Do you even know her name? Naruto said. His voice sounding calm as he spoke, but there was an underlying tone in it that Zabuza felt scared of. That was quite surprising. After all, he was the demon of the mist. A man that's said to fear no one, go up against any foes, cut down anyone in his way, no matter if you're strong or weak. But yet this simple boy was causing him to rethink that. Her name was Amara. You know, her father, unlike most daimyos, he is not greedy. Yes, it's quite surprising because most time, when you think of daimyos, you think of greedy, fat, old slobs that just love to order people around. But Kaido, he was different. He loved his country, he loved his daughter, he loved his family. He even loved his son. He knew that his son wanted to be the head after he was gone, but he saw darkness within him. I saw it as well. The boy was tainted. He will care about money, riches, and ladies. Well, I guess that last part isn't a bad thing. But to only care about these things and never care about love, compassion, or family, that's rather... what would I say about that? Stupid. Or... well, insensitive, if you can say. That is why he hired you. You killed her father, her mother, a sweet woman. The woman was almost like an angel. She never got angry. Even when me and Amara had messed up the garden with our rough housing, despite everything, she kind of acted like a boy. But not in a rough way. But she loved to get her hands dirty. She was kind of my best friend. We did many missions for them, many protection detail. The daimyo always wanted peace, always looking for a way to bring peace between his country and another. So there was many times when he hired us to protect him as he negotiated with other daimyos. The man was even grateful enough to allow me to train in a large open space. His daughter Amara wanted to become strong as well, so she regularly asked me to show her a thing or two, which I did. 3 months. It went by so quickly. One day it rather surprised me when she told me that she liked me. She was 2 years older than me. At the time I was 7. So I was rather shocked, you know? Yes, beyond shock. And she kissed me. And I had to say, I felt at complete ease. Like she was the only person in the world right there and then. I didn't even know what that feeling was back then. But now I know that it was love. And then you came, said Naruto, his tone turning darker. Zabuza brought his hand up to perform hand signs. You slaughtered her entire family. People that was people that was beyond the amount of kindness that anyone should have. I can tell, my eyes see the deceit in people. You're coated with blood. So many wrongdoings, I can't even see the light in you anymore. I got a letter from her. The next morning, she gave it to her handmaid to give to me. Once you killed everyone. Despite her being only 9 years old, she was supposed to be groomed to turn into the next daimyo by the advisor, a trusted man. He was pure. He came to respect her father a lot. It was then I got the letter in the morning. I quickly rushed to her room, only to find her in the bathtub. Her wrists had been slit. I don't know what it was, but something broke inside me that day. And you know, as much as I act Like I'm interested in a lot of girls. There is passion. But for some reason, I never feel the same way. The way I felt with her. But you took that by killing her family. Zabuza had wasted enough time as he sped through one sign. Water style. Water dragon jutsu, he said. A massive dragon rose up behind Naruto. Naruto didn't even move. Naruto, he heard his name cried out as it was by Kakashi who was making his way. The massive water dragon slammed into Naruto's purple cloak. But, to their surprise, the dragon simply turned into mist as the purple cloak converted into a different element and it dispersed in the air. Naruto leaped forward as he smashed his fist in Zabuza's face. Zabuza's head slammed down into the ground. As Zabuza felt his vision going blank, he didn't know one kid could hit this hard. Did you even care about Haku, said Naruto, as he smacked his fist again, sitting down on Zabuza's chest. Answer me, he said. Zabuza refrained to answer as Naruto smashed his fist over and over. Naruto's lips started to curve up into a smile. As he was thinking he wants something sharp, his hand twitched as his nails extended into long claws that resemble wolves. As he sliced at Zabuza's face, its face started to gain purple markings all over it as he sliced. He sliced and sliced and sliced. Blood sprayed all over his face, making him look more dark. He stopped, his now claw hands coated in blood. He lowered his face gently towards Zabuza's ear. I want my voice to be the last thing you hear before you die. To know that your past came back to haunt you for making one stupid mistake, for taking one job. You should have denied a request to killing so many pure, wonderful people. No, rot in hell, you disgusting piece of shit, said Naruto as he held out his hand. Kakashi paused as he saw something build within a second. It was a Rasengan. As he figured that Naruto knew this because of Jiraiya. But it wasn't normal as the purple energy of Naruto's body started to seep into the Rasengan. It turned completely submerged with purple. It looked like it was condensed and ready to explode at any moment. Zabuza, eyes could only widen. His face was torn up badly, unable to do anything. His body had been going through turmoil ever since Naruto slammed his fist into his gut. Not to mention he was fighting Kakashi. As he was out from that moment, if that water dragon had hit, perhaps he would have been able to do something, but at the moment he could not. The last thing he saw was the purple spear smashing into his face. It exploded. A violent shower of blood and gore splashed on Naruto. Now, sitting down in the headless form of Zabuza, he slowly rised up to his feet. As he looked up in the sky, I'm sorry I couldn't save you, as a tear slipped down his cheek, as he remembered her smiling face. He then started to fall, as he landed on her shoulder. Kakashi had stooped down close enough. Kakashi, said Naruto. It's alright. It's over now, said Kakashi. As Naruto placed his arm on Kakashi's shoulder, Kakashi propped him up, as he started to make his way back to the bridge. When they arrived, Hinata had a panicked look on her face. She released a sigh of relief when she saw him. He had blood over him, but he was fine. It wasn't his blood as far as she could see. Sasuke was just looking at him with a neutral look on his face. Hinata and Sasuke moved their way over. Naruto-kun, are you okay? Hinata asked. Kakashi set him down. As he nodded to Kakashi, he was fine. As he stood on his legs. Don't worry, He didn't get to finish that sentence as he suddenly shoot off passing them as blood sprayed. Haku looked up into his eyes as the ice dagger that he had formed had pierced right through Naruto's palm as blood was leaking down. She was planning on killing herself. She didn't see any reason of going on anymore. She wasn't a tool. She wasn't anything. She was being used in the first place as a tool, which she didn't mind because it was someone that saved her from her life that she hated. But to find out that he was the one that took her life away from her. Yes, to find out that he was the one that took everything. She didn't see the reason of living. Please, don't do it, he said. Why? She asked, speaking for the first time since she found out about what happened. There's always a better way. Just don't do it, he said. He had already seen someone. He had already felt the after effect of someone killing himself. And someone as pure as Haku didn't deserve this either. I have nothing left. No one. My precious person was the one that betrayed me from the start. There is no reason for me to continue on living, she said. Don't hurt yourself because of me. Just allow me to die. She tried to remove the dagger, but he held on to it even though she knew that it was causing him excruciating pain. He came close and wrapped one arm around her. She didn't know why, but the dam that she was holding on to broke. Tears started to seep out of her eyes. He had already failed to protect someone to stop them from ending their own life. This girl did not deserve that at all. Hinata came over. She looked at him as Naruto's hands started to circle on Haku's back. The purple aura. As Haku felt her mind going drowsy. She didn't know how or how she was able to fall asleep in this state, but she did. As she fell limply into his arms. Hinata then took his arm as she started to quickly wrap it with a bandage. Are you okay? She asked. Don't worry. He started to fall. Sasuke was the one that caught him by the back of the shirt. The dope went and exhausted himself. As Hinata looked him over. Yeah, he's fine, just exhausted. Huh. Pitiful, said a voice. Kakashi was just looking at his team before he turned to see Gato and his man standing there. Well, seems that Zabuza is out of the way. But that girl there, his assistant, is still alive. Think I might take her. The bitch almost broke my arm for simply trying to touch Zabuza. Well, I guess it's time for some payback. You there, I heard about you. Kakashi Hatake. Why don't you take your team and just get out of here? As you can see, as Hinata saw the bunch of bandits behind the man. Sorry, but it's not my mission to leave him behind. So I would kindly suggest that you leave. If you know what's good for you, said Kakashi. Gato started to laugh. You may be powerful, but you're simply just one man. So I'll give you the opportunity to take that back and run along with your little kitties. You won't leave, will you? Nah. Need this bridge builder out of my way, said Gato. What do you say I pay you off? And you just act like this didn't happen. After all, ninjas are nothing but muscle for hire. What do you say? Hinata. Sasuke. Yes, sensei? Say Hinata. Huh? Say Sasuke. Take the both of them out of here and go back to the house. What? What about you? Hinata asks. I'll be fine. Just take them and go back to the house. He turned and gave them an eye smile. Have more trust in your sensei, will you? The both of them looked at each other as they nodded. As Sasuke picked up Naruto, Hinata picked up Haku as he quickly made their way back. Huh, think I'm just gonna let them leave like that? Kakashi then turned as he lifted up his headband. He wasn't even tired from the battle, as him and Zabuza never really got down to it. Not really. And now, he had his energy, this pent-up energy to work out on these guys. After all, he was sure that they wouldn't leave no matter what. Last warning, said Kakashi. Gato simply smirked. Get him, boys, he said. Time skip. As Naruto groaned as he woke up, he was lying on a futon as he looked around. He was back at the house, the same room. As he remembered what happened clear. Yes, he had a rather strong memory. It was almost like he could remember everything. That is why it was so hard to deal with certain things. After all, he remembered that letter. He remembered every single look on her face. Everything. As he got up. It's better if you relax. You seem rather exhausted. He turned towards the window to see Kakashi sitting there. Kakashi. What happened? He said. Well, you end up passing out. After you stop Haku from ending her own life. She's awake, by the way, downstairs with Hinata. Gato brought his man on the bridge. Man? Yes. A lot of them. I suppose you took care of them, said Naruto, as he looked over Kakashi. Kakashi simply gave my eye smile. Let's just say it's dealt with, he said. As Naruto did not doubt that for one bit. Mace and ninjas are a different thing, but bandits pose no threat. I heard what you said Kakashi. I never knew. Sorry. It's okay, said Naruto as he got to his feet. As he smiled despite everything. After all, you have to move on, right? I killed him. So I guess that part of my quest is dealt with. I had made the promise that I will find him again and kill him. So I guess I should be feeling happy. Revenge. Despite how much you think it will bring you happiness, it never does it? Yeah, said Naruto. But why focus on the past when the future is ahead of you? I guess you're right on that, said Kakashi. Where are you going, Kakashi asked. You should be resting. Nah, I'm fine. You and I both know that I heal rather fast. And I need to talk to Haku. I'm not sure that she's talking to anyone right now. I'll be the judge of that, said Naruto as he made his way downstairs. The moment he made his way downstairs, he was hugged. As he looked down to see small and Eri. Big brother Naruto, you're awake, he said. As Naruto smiled, the boy ruffled his hair. When I saw you came back unconscious, I thought something bad happened. But they told me that you were just out, and you wake up soon enough. You kept your promise. Gato is gone. That is what I heard. So, is everything gonna change now? Well, he's no longer gonna be a plague, said Naruto. I told you, just to keep your hope up. And I made a promise, didn't I? Iniru smiled at that as he hugged Naruto's feet even more. After the boy released him, Naruto made his way. As he stepped inside of the living room, she was just there, sitting, looking through the window, not really looking at anything in particular. As he stepped in front of her, her eyes looked towards his hand. The bandages were gone. It was like he never got stabbed. He noticed her eyes. Oh, don't worry, he said. It's fine. As he looked her directly in the eyes, her eyes were dull and hollow, like someone who had just went through a lot. He understood after all. As he saw for himself what she saw, so it must be rather painful. As Naruto stooped down, she knew that he was there, but a part of her mind just didn't register much. I know that you must be going through a lot right now. And I know that promises in a ninja world are always broken because of one thing or another. But I, Naruto Uzumaki, promise you, you will get over this. I'll help you. I'll stay by your side if I have to. And I'll make sure that you pull through this. And I never go back on my words, he said. He placed both hands on her shoulder. And something clicked. She felt it, that warm sensation just radiating from him. But despite that, she felt corrupted inside. She could feel pain all over, phantom pain, despite it not being actually there. For all the things that she saw, all the things that she went through. And I'll never leave you behind, he said. He looked up as Hinata and Sasuke came back in the room. Time skip, a week later. As the group was all packed and they were at the gate, the people of Wave was waving to them and calling out their names, cheering them on. As they left, they were saying their goodbyes. As the group headed off, it took an extra week to finish building the bridge, and Tezuna was safe through and through. After all, Gato was dealt with. Hey, I was wondering, what should we name the bridge? Yeah, I was wondering that too. Gato-san, do you have anything in mind? Hope, said Gato. Huh? The Bridge of Hope, Gato said. After all, that was what the boy, Naruto Uzumaki, told his grandson. To have hope, and everything will be fine. All of them did their part, all of them did something to protect this place. It's a notion to them. Hope, that is why he named the bridge that. As the group made their way back to Konoha, as Naruto glanced towards Haku, she asked him for a strange request. Something that he think that she would never ask. For them to bury Zabuza's body. He did not object to her about that. People cope with things in different ways, so he helped her. The man's headless body was buried nearby the shore, as she was silent the entire time. She didn't cry or anything. And once it was done, she simply went back with him. And it was over. He supposed despite everything, she was paying a final respect. Despite everything that the man did. She barely talked, as he knew that he was having a lot of effect on her same way. But he was going to help her through it. At least, she hasn't tried any attempt on her life anymore. Something that he was grateful for. So with that, the group made their way back to Konoha. Some light chatter between them. Hinata and Sasuke was told to watch over Haku. Kakashi knew that something like this might happen. That is why he told them to watch over the girl. He saw that she wasn't one to actually ruthlessly kill. So Hinata never saw what happened between Naruto or Sasuke did. Because if they had, there would have been a lot of questions right now. The only thing they knew was that he dealt with Zabuza. Sasuke was still surprised by that Naruto was so fast, so powerful. And not to mention that style of fighting, the three-sword style. He didn't know why, but he had a feeling that Naruto had more. Well, he knew that he had more style of fighting, but the three-sword style, he had a feeling like he can use more swords. Because while he was facing off against Zabuza, he switched. He rotated the sword in his mouth, and he put it in a joint of his arm, and used it. That was quite impressive, as he wondered who he learned that style from. A distance away at Kumo, a man sneezed. Yo, Octopop, looks like someone is talking about we, you see? Can you please scan it with your insufferable rhyming? Why so grumpy? After all, we ain't jumpy. As grumbling could be heard. The group finally made their way back to Konoha. Sir Toby was listening to everything that happened. He had saw the girl. The first thought that came to his mind was, this had something to do with Naruto. And it definitely did. Alright then, said Sir Toby. Miss Haku, he said as he turned towards her. The girl lifted her head up slightly. Haku was never really in front of her Kage before. After all, she never knew that people could be so up and personal with their Kage other than their top high-ranking shinobis. So she wasn't used to something like this. Despite, well, being all somber, she heard everything that Naruto said. She didn't know why he was going out of his way to protect someone like her, or to even help her, but he promised. He begged her to just give him a chance. She made it up in her mind that she would, but it was still hard for her to accept everything that happened. That is why she still felt so irritable on the inside. But she heard everything that he said, and she knew that this man was a Hokage. If she didn't speak properly or act properly around him, he would certainly send her out of his village. And out there on her own, she would definitely die. And thinking about that now, is that what she really wanted? She wanted to kill herself on the bridge, but why did her mind change? She glanced towards Naruto before turning back to the Hokage. Yes, Hokage-sama, she said. Would you like to become a citizen of Konoha? You don't have to worry about that, old man, said Naruto as he stepped in. The group then turned towards him. Because I, Naruto Namikaze, will be adopting Haku into my clan, said Naruto. Hinata looked towards him confused. So did Sasuke. Naruto-kun, I think you said the wrong last name, she said. Both Kakashi and Hiruzen turned towards Naruto. After all, he never told them. Oh, yeah, said Naruto. Haku was still railing from what he just said. Adopting her into his clan? You know, I was gonna tell him sooner or later. I mean, we're on the same team. I suppose they should know. Well, you see guys, as he turned towards the two of them, Naruto, Hiruzen said. Naruto turned towards him. As he gave him a look, of course he would not tell them that part. Well, about his father, they could keep a secret. And besides, if Sasuke run his mouth to anyone, I'll chain him up in my basement and lock him there. What? Sasuke said. And don't think I'm kidding, said Naruto. I will literally chain you up in my basement and lock you up in there. For years if I have to. What the hell are you talking about, dope? Sasuke said. As Naruto placed a hand on his shoulder. Look, what I'm about to tell you is a very dangerous secret. Hiruzen looked towards Kakashi, who was asking him with his eyes for, well, confirmation if Naruto was really gonna do this. After all, there wasn't much people knew that Naruto was the son of Minato. They have been on a team for a couple of months now. He trusted Hinata. He never knew that he was ready to tell Sasuke what could be so important about you. As Naruto turned the both of them toward the wall. What are we looking at, Naruto-kun? Asked Hinata. Naruto brought down his hair as he used his hand to brush it down. Haku instantly see what he was pointing towards, but the other two did not understand. Sasuke had the irritable look on his face. What the hell's going on? He asks. As Naruto sighed, for someone who's supposed to be smart, you're rather dumb. As Naruto then turned towards Hinata, she gasped. I see you notice. Sasuke then turned back as he then noticed the picture frame that Naruto was standing next to. As Naruto covered his whisker marks. That better? Sasuke then noticed the eyes. The blonde hair. Wait. Ah, it seems you finally get it, Uchiha. Seems you're not as dumb as I thought. Well, I did give you a bunch of ideas. Naruto simply shrugged. Naruto-kun, you're the son of the Hokage? Why do you think I'm so awesome? Said Naruto. It run in the genes. Hinata couldn't believe it. She never thought of that. She always wondered why he lived in such a giant house. But she thought it was just some family background something, but never this. That is why I said Namikaze. That's my father's name. Mother name is Uzumaki. So, like you, Uchiha, said Naruto, I have a clan as well. I've never heard of a Namikaze clan before. Well, considering that I'm the only one left. He didn't mean for it to sound sad, but the way he said it sounded rather sad. Sasuke could understand that feeling far too well, so he did not say anything else about it. Remember, this is a secret. If you go blabbing your mouth about it, I'll tie you up in my basement and lock you there. You just remember what I said. Why are you hassling me alone? Asked Sasuke. As Naruto walked over and placed a hand on Hinata's head. Because Hinata will never do anything as stupid as you. Sasuke simply huffed as he turned his head. As Naruto punched him on the shoulder. But before Sasuke could retort, Naruto then turned towards Haku. So, what do you say, Haku? Would you like that? Haku looked at him. As she moved her head slightly to show a confirmation nod. As Naruto smiled at that. Naruto-kun, Hiruzen said. As Naruto turned towards him. First thing first, you didn't ask my permission to tell your teammates about your father. Second thing, how did you know that you could just adopt someone in your clan like that? Third thing, how did you know that you were eligible to do something like that? Naruto made his way over as he motioned for Hiruzen to lean down. So he did. As Naruto whispered something in his ear. Really? Said Hiruzen. As Naruto backed back and nodded. Alright, fine. I will allow this to slide. But the same rules still apply. If not in my presence, no one else are supposed to find out about this. This could cause serious effects on your life. Hinata looked at him worried because of that. Effect on his life? Sasuke was also curious. Nothing you guys have to worry about, said Naruto. As Kakashi wondered what did Naruto tell the Hokage to make him let him off so easily. Alright, you guys are dismissed. I have to talk to Hokage about something, said Kakashi. Come on, Haku, said Naruto, as he held onto her hand. As Kakashi, he let her off. Sit down. I'm guessing this is what happened when Naruto faced off against Zabuza. As Kakashi nodded. Jiraiya already told me that he gets violent in certain situations. Tell me, did he release any kind of energy? Kakashi looked at Hiruzen. Energy? Yes. Anything on a destructive scale, like a blast that will blow up anything, Hiruzen asked. Well, no. Just mostly taijutsu. And he did the Rasengan. Yes, Jiraiya told me that he taught him that technique. But no destructive explosions or anything like that. No, other than the purple glow around him, no explosives. Well, that's good. May I ask, what does this, means? Well, Naruto has a different ability. One I'm sure that he hasn't told you about yet. What's that? Well, he's able to absorb and release energy. Certain energy to a point where it becomes quite unstable. The last time it happened, Jiraiya was, hard pressed to stop him because the energy that he released was so destructive. It just kept on exploding over and over. If it wasn't for Jiraiya fast acting, a lot of people would have gotten hurt. That is why it's good that he didn't tap into that part of his ability. But sir, what exactly he get these abilities from? To tell you the truth, Kakashi, I have no idea. We tried to find out, but it is so confusing and at the same time surprising. After all, I've never heard of anyone in the Elemental Nation doing things like these. So I have no idea what exactly his powers are or where they came from. Kakashi nodded as he still didn't know himself what exactly Naruto is capable of at his fullest. Meanwhile, Sasuke's eyes were a bit wide. Haku was surprised as well. Usually, homes like these belong to daimyos and rich people. Yet, Naruto was saying that this was all his. As the four of them made their way inside the rather massive compound. You live here? You know, I just realized you've never been here before, said Naruto. As he looked towards Sasuke. No, I have not, said Sasuke as he glanced around. Well, this place used to belong to my dad, said Naruto. So yeah, it's all mine now, he says. He looked around. Hinata made her way quietly as she already been here before a lot of time. So this wasn't new to her. It's not like Sasuke hadn't seen a large compound before after all. He used to live in the Uchiha compound, but ever since everything is barely went there. But for Naruto to own this place on his own. And this is where you be staying, said Naruto as he looked towards Haku. How about I give you a tour? As he started to walk around and show her places, while Sasuke and Hinata just tag along. The time moved rather quickly. Yes, it did. As nightfall came rather quickly. At the office, Hiruzen was leaning back in his chair as he released a long sigh. It was finally over. That dreaded thing that all Kages hated, except for Minato, because for some reason he did it so fast. There was barely any of it. Paperwork. As he looked over a piece of paper, he would have to give this Naruto for him to fall out for Haku if she was going to be joining his clan. A thought then came to his mind, but he shook it off. The girl was in a fragile state, despite Naruto being, well, who he was, like Jiraiya. He also had the same heart as Jiraiya when it comes to people when they were in an emotional state. He wouldn't do anything out of the way. He didn't know why that thought popped in his head. But given Jiraiya and his lewd way of thinking, and not to mention his books, certain thoughts started to pop in his head after all. Naruto had bribed him. It would be rather unprofessional for Hokage to accept a bribe. Jiraiya's new book was coming out, and Naruto had promised to get him a copy before it even hit the markets. And that is why he let Naruto off rather easily. For him to be taking a book as a bribe, no one could find out. Ever. And with that he made his way home. Meanwhile, as Naruto stood at the door, "Everything okay?" he asked. "You comfy?" "Yes." She answered in one syllable, as Haku was lying on the bed. As she looked at him, "Could you close the door?" she asked. "Yeah," said Naruto. As he closed the door behind him, Haku lay there as she tried to get some sleep. Her mind and her body still not fully adjusting to everything yet. For one part, she still couldn't believe that he was going out of his way to do all of this for her, despite her not being so talkative with him. He was indeed quite a special person. Someone could even say precious. As she curled up in the bed, as she fell asleep, suddenly there was a small poof, gone in an instant. It was a clone that was transformed. As Naruto received the memories, he didn't mean to spy on her, but given what happened on the bridge, well, he just wanted to make sure. He saw that she was getting around to the idea of being here and being a part of the village, something that he was happy for. He looked at the clock on the wall. He had a date, as he created 3 clones. He nodded at them before heading off. A good 30 minutes later, laughter, uncontrollable laughter could be heard from the forest of death. After all, the best way to blow off some steam was to get drunk. Crazy, out of mind drunk. And that was the two of them at the moment. As Naruto was laughing, as Uncle told him a joke, the funniest thing that he ever heard in his life. Say it again, he said. Alright. What's the difference between an apple and an orange? What is it? He said, barely controlling his laughter. An apple is red. The two of them burst out laughing. The joke made absolutely no sense. But they were just so hammered, their mind not fully accepting what the hell was going on. As the both of them got to their feet, as they start to walk in the forest of death, a loud screech could be heard. Bring it on, Uncle said as she took a sweep of her sake. As a large centipede came out of the forest, Uncle smirked as she launched herself and wrapped around the thing's neck as he started to thrash about. As Naruto launched onto it as well as he held onto it. As the thing started to crash all over the place, Uncle smashed, he punched it right in the head, knocking it down to the ground. The centipede rolled. It rolled right off of a cliff. As both of them were falling and laughing, as Naruto looked down before placing his hand on the centipede, the purple engine source as it turned the centipede into a giant pillow that slammed right into the ground. The both of them planted face first in it as they burst out laughing. Do it again, Uncle said. And in fact, they did do it again. Several centipedes was turned into pillows as they launched right off the valley creek until they got bored and started to drink some more as they made their way hunting the forest of death. You know, Naruto, you're a rather okay guy. The first time we met, I thought you were abrasive and just shit crazy. And I was right. Uncle burst out laughing once again, and so did Naruto. You know, Uncle, you're a rather good girl as well. I wonder, that thing on your neck, is it still bothering you? Oh, you mean this? Yeah, this dirty seal. Yeah, that hickey, said Naruto. Seems like Orochimaru loved to play with your neck. Yeah, I wish I could have chopped his head off while he was doing it, she said. Don't worry, when I find him, I'll make sure to get revenge for you. You do that, she said. Come on, I think I can help you, said Naruto. Jiraiya is a Fuinjutsu master. If he can do it, how could you? Well, just let me try, okay? Alright, fine. But if you end up messing up and kill me, you're gonna pay. How are you gonna hurt me if you're dead? I don't know, but I'm gonna. The both of them were not thinking rationally at this point. After all, the sake that he was drinking was Mount Miyaboku Fire Sake, the best in the world. The toads had a different tolerance than human, and their tolerance was quite strong, so this kind of sake was something that was rather potent to the point of losing your sanity as you drank. As Naruto placed his arm on her neck, "Begone," he said. Uncle burst out laughing. "That tickles," she said. "Don't worry. Begone!" Body alteration. Virus detected. Exterminate. External uses, he heard in his head. "Yeah, make it go away." Naruto blinked. "Uncle, look!" His fingers break apart like they were made from machine. A strange purple substance came out of his hand like a wire as it injected into Uncle's neck. She winks in pain a bit. "Whoa," said Naruto, as the purple substance then returned back to his hand. As Naruto looked into his palm, a small black ball. "What's this?" He tossed it for some reason as it broke, releasing a black mist in the air. That was boring. "Hey, it's gone," Uncle said. "Huh? Look, you took it away." "Wait, I did?" "I did." Uncle burst out laughing, and so did Naruto, as the both of them got up, as they continued on to walk around the forest, having no earthly idea of what the hell just happened, as none of them noticed a pair of eyes watching them. The eyes focused on Naruto. The eyes had so much rage as it watched Naruto walk. Someone who wanted him dead, it seems. But guys, be in tips right here. If you want the next part, so to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.